peace of Christ be with you all. Brothers and sisters, today being the last day of the year and getting closer to start anew, I came to share with you a thought that has been in my mind for the last few days, and it was reaffirmed today with the words of our priest in the homily in today's Mass. And this is what has been in my mind. Most of the times, 90% of the times, 90% of us, every time we're ending a year and getting closer to welcome the new, we make resolutions, we make plans of things that we want to achieve personally, academically, professionally, you name it. But how many times have we really asked our Lord what that He wants from us? What is really His will on our lives? If what I'm thinking or what I'm planning goes with His will. How many times do we stop to think and ask our Lord, Lord, is this really what you want from me? Because I'll tell you, most of the times, our own will, our own plans do not align with God's will and God's plans. And pretty much most of the times it's very difficult for us to accept that our own will doesn't align with God's. And we want to do our own will. Sometimes we end up doing our own will and then we see the consequences of it. Why? Because we did not ask our Lord if that was His will. Or even if we ask, we didn't want His will. We wanted to do our own. And also, how many times we ask for signs? We ask for signs to our Lord in different ways, not just saying, God gave me a sign of this, but in different ways we ask for signs to God. I told you from experience, I can be praying to God and I can say, God, I am in your hands. I want to do your will, but I would like to do this, or I will like you to grant me this. And if it's not granted within a specific time that I had in my mind, I'm not gonna tell God, why didn't you do that on my life? But I'm gonna think it haven't happened, and that's still not accepting God's will. Because we do that, we tend to do that. We tend to minimize God to our times. And we forget, brothers and sisters, that we measure everything by minutes, seconds, days, weeks, months, years. But God doesn't. God's timing, it's omnipotent present. So in His omnipotence, in His present, always present, it's not going to be the way that we see things. One day for us might be a decade for the Lord, or vice versa. So we have to ask our Lord more often what is really what He wants from us, and not only ask Him, but really put our faith and our hopes in His will. And also, don't forget to always, before asking, before praying about something, give thanks to the Lord. Give thanks to the Lord for everything He has done for us in our lives. Every time, every moment, every day when we open our eyes, when we're gathered on the table to eat, when we stand up for the table, when before bed, at every moment in our lives, even if we're by ourselves, gathered with our husbands and children, parents, sisters, or any other family members, acquaintances, you name it. Always thank God first for that moment, for that particular moment, or that particular thing that we're doing in our lives. Thank our Lord. Even if it's good for us, or as we see it, or if it's bad, or if it's so. We thank our Lord always. Our priest just reaffirmed all these in my mind with today's homily, like I said. Always thank the Lord first. And accept His will. And learn to see the signs. Because how many times we ask a sign, but then we don't know how to see it, and we don't know how to hear the Lord. Many times when I say things like this to friends or acquaintances, they tell me, how do you hear God? What is God's voice like? Okay, first of all, God speaks to us every single day. Yes, He does. But we don't know how to hear Him. He speaks to us through our husbands, through our children, through our parents, through our sisters and brothers, through our sisters and brothers in faith, through our friends, through many people out there. God speaks to us. God speaks to us maybe in a dream like Saint Joseph. Maybe an angel comes to you directly and tell you or ask you what really the Lord wants from you, but we don't know how to hear Him. We don't know how to hear Him or how to pay attention to the signs that God is sending. How many times we opened our Bibles and read, and when we're reading, the answers to our questions are there, but we don't know because we didn't pay attention to the answers, and they were there in our prayers. In every form, God speaks to us. So that's what has been going in my mind lately, and I wanted to come here to share that with you, and really stop and thank the Lord and ask Him what that He wants from us, and accept His will, because that's the hard one, to accept His will in our lives. Accept what He has for us and what He has not for us, because there's always a reason behind it, and trust me, God's will and God's reasons are more important than ours. Every time. 100% of the times. So let God work in our lives and accept His signs, His will, and learn how to hear Him and learn how to see the signs. Peace of Christ be with you.